Hello and welcome to this Great Academy video. I am Mrs. Maths Ireland and this is lesson 1.4, Simplifying Expressions from your Algebra chapter. Right, so what is simplifying? So we talked about simplifying earlier on and we did say that it's all about tidying up, doing all the calculations that needs to be done. I do want to point out here that you do need to follow your BIMDAS as well. So when we think about BIMDAS, we need to know the 6 different words that are related to those letters. So B stands for brackets, I stands for indices, M stands for multiply, D stands for divide, A stands for add, and S stands for subtract. Okay, so yes, your calculator will automatically put BIMDAS into action when you use your calculator. However, we are in algebra. We are going to be working with variables. So we do need to understand how BIMDAS works and make sure that we implement it in the right way. Other than that, we are going to focus mainly on multiplying in this lesson because most of the simplifying we're going to be doing for quite a long time involves multiplying out. With this, I just want to point out as well that when you are trying to simplify, and this is a general sweeping statement, is that you need to take a second to assess the situation. You are going to be faced with very varied types of simplifying jobs that you need to do. So just take a second, observe what the numbers are doing, observe what the brackets are doing, observe what the powers are doing, and then make a start. Don't just jump straight into it. Take a second to observe the situation. So one other piece of information I want to show you is what am I saying when I mean a term? So each piece of an expression is referred to as a term. So if I give you an example here, if I said 2x squared plus x plus 9, for example, that is an expression, a quadratic expression, and we can see that there are 3 pieces here. There's a 2x squared, an x, and a 9. So there's 3 terms in this expression. That's all a term is, all the different pieces that are included there. The next thing that I want to talk about is how you could be asked a question. Okay, so we generally have been using the word simplify all the time so far. However, in a question, you could easily be asked to remove the brackets and simplify, or to expand the brackets and simplify. These are all ways of asking the question, asking you to simplify. All right, so just be familiar with that. Simplify. So just be familiar with those 3 methods. Simplify, remove the brackets and simplify, or expand the brackets and simplify. So just make sure you're familiar with all 3 and you don't get spooked when you're asked one of the other ones. The last thing I want to look at before we jump into some examples is when we're adding versus multiplying. So when you're adding x's together, you literally are just adding them up. So you're just, bringing them together. So an x plus an x is 2x. An x plus an x plus an x is 3x, etc. So you're just kind of you're adding, when you're adding them up, you are literally just telling me how many x's that you have. When we're multiplying, this is where the powers come in on your variables. When you're multiplying 2 x's together, it's x squared because there's 2. When you're multiplying 5 x's together, it's x to the power of 5 because there's 5 x's, and so on and so forth. So when you're multiplying, you're going to get the powers. So keep that in mind. So multiplying gives you the powers, adding gives you the number in front. So on that basis, we're going to get into some examples. So there are 3 main types of multiplying that we're going to do here. There are 3 situations. You are reusing and repurposing your multiplying skills in each case, but they just look slightly different initially. That's the difference. So this is the first one here, and what you'll find is you have a number sitting outside a bracket. So have a look at this 5. Do you see the way it's sitting outside the bracket? There's no plus, There's no minus sign. There's nothing between the number and the bracket. It's sitting beside it. That indicates that that 5 is going to multiply into that bracket. And in particular, it's going to multiply into everything in that bracket. Okay? So 5 is going to multiply into both of those terms. If you want to, you can do a little arrow like that. 5 multiplies into x squared, and it also multiplies into minus 2. If you feel that you're making errors with this, so if you've done this stuff already and you still feel you're making errors, this is a great way to kind of just get rid of that. Now, you won't always feel the need to put the arrows in, but it helps you to just get the method right. Okay, let's do some number crunching. So multiplying 5 by x squared is 5x squared, and 5 by minus 2 is minus 10. Done. I cannot simplify that anymore. I do not have like terms, so there's no simplifying available to me. Going over to the other side, we have this one. Now there's 3 terms in this bracket. That doesn't make a difference. The 2x is sitting outside, so the 2x has to multiply into all of these 3 terms in the bracket. So you're going to get 4x cubed. You're going to get minus 6x squared, and you're going to get plus 14x. Again, once you've done that step, you are always looking to simplify. Can I simplify? No, I don't have like terms. I've got an x cubed, an x squared, and an x. They are not the same. I cannot simplify down any further, which is perfectly fine. Let's move on to the second type of multiplying out brackets. These 2 brackets are being multiplied together. So you've got 2 full brackets multiplying together. What are we going to do here? We are going to break up the first bracket into its terms and multiply each of them individually into the second bracket. So I am taking 2x plus 2. I'm taking the 2 terms within that bracket and I'm individually multiplying them into the second. So I'm going to take the 2x and I'm going to multiply it by x minus 3. Then I'm going to take the plus 2 and I'm going to multiply that into x minus 3. This way, we're being very organized and we're making sure that everything gets multiplied by everything. That's essentially what we're doing here. So we're now back to the last method that we did before. So the last method, we said that 2x is sitting outside that bracket, so it will multiply into it. So the 2x will multiply into that x and into the 3. That's done and dusted with then. Then we move on to this part, the second part, and we see that 2 is also sitting outside the bracket. So it's going to multiply into the x and the minus 3. So you're doing that method twice here. So let's work it out. So we get 2x squared minus 6x. We get plus 2x. And we get minus 6. Again, can you simplify? Have a look. Do you have any like terms? Yes or no? Yes. So we can simplify these. 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. Okay, so let's look at the other one here on the other side. So again, those 2 brackets are multiplying by each other. You take the first bracket, you divide it up into its individual terms, and you multiply them all into the second bracket. So you're going to have 2x bracket x minus 4 minus 1 bracket x minus 4. And again, we're back on familiar ground and we're multiplying that 2x into the first bracket and the minus 1 into the second. So we get 2x squared minus 8x minus x plus 4. Again, you are searching to see, can you simplify down? So we can. If we look at our x's, they are similar. So we get minus 9x there and plus 4. Okay, so again, here is another different type of multiplying out bracket. So this is the third one and the final one that we're going to look at in this lesson. So what you'll find here is that if you have a single bracket, but the bracket is squared or cubed, it's really telling you that you are multiplying the bracket by itself 2 times. So you are multiplying out. So you need to say that x minus 2 is being multiplied by itself 2 times, like this. Okay, you must do it in that way. Now you're back to the previous method where you literally break up the first bracket multiplied by the second. So x outside of x plus 2 outside of x plus 2, and you work that all out. Okay? So as I said before, at each stage here, you need to observe what's happening and make sure you're implementing the previous methods that we have talked about in this lesson. So take that second to recognize what's happening. Because if you know what's happening and you know what you have, it's much easier to solve it and work it out. Right, this one on the right hand side, again, same thing. X minus 4 in a bracket squared is literally telling me that I'm multiplying that bracket by itself 2 times. So x outside of x minus 4, it's very repetitive, okay? So you can see already, and I hope you can see, that it's very repetitive already. And that's important to note, okay? Maybe it's a little bit boring, but repetitive is good. You want to be as familiar as possible with all this stuff because it's easier. It's easier to remember something that you have to do 10 times, you know? So don't be annoyed that it's repetitive. Be happy that it's repetitive. Can you simplify? Yes, you can. Minus 4x minus 4x is minus 8x. And there we go. All right, it's your turn now. So here are 2 questions, and I want you to have a go at this one first. So let's start with the left-hand side of the screen, and I want you to pause the video now and have a look at that one. Now that you've given that a really good effort, and I hope you've got it right, but if not, remember you can learn from it, and that you are using the previous information that I've just given you to help you. Don't be afraid to go to your notes and try and learn from them. That's why they're there. That's why I've created all this for you. So again, first things first, let's get rid of that power of 2 and rewrite those brackets out. First job. Second thing then is I'm going to break up the first bracket and I'm going to multiply it by the second, just like this. So I get 16x squared plus 16x plus 16x plus 16. Lots of 16s everywhere. So again, tidying up, I know that I've got x here and an x there. So that is 32x altogether plus 16. Okay. So that's the first one done. Well done if you got that right. If you didn't, as I said already before, go back, go through it, analyze what you did, what I did, and find your mistake and learn from that. Okay? Right, time to pause again and let's do the next one. So if you made an error in the first one, try and avoid that error this time. Okay, good job. I'm glad to see that you're working really hard. Let's have a look at this one. So my 3 went a bit wobbly there. Okay, again, you're going to break up that bracket. Okay, you're going to break it up and multiply it by the second. So, -1. And again, I do encourage you to write this out. Show the examiner that you are multiplying it out correctly. Again, there's merit in that. The examiner can see that you knew what you were doing. And if it did go a little bit wrong, at least they can see that you knew what you were trying to do. Multiply this out. We get 9x squared minus 3x. Over here, we get minus 3x and plus 1. So we get 9x squared minus 6x plus 1 for the second there. Okay? Practice makes perfect with these guys. I'm a broken record and you're going to be fed up hearing this the whole way through this course, but practice makes perfect and I can't say it enough. So be prepared to do plenty of examples. If you want to be comfortable and build your confidence, knowing how to deal with these situations, that's That's how you build your confidence, being able to deal with them accurately, taking that extra second to just observe what you have, going for it, getting it right. That's how you build your confidence. Okay, so practice, 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 and be super familiar with the different types of multiplying out brackets that you need to do. So that has been lesson 1.4, simplifying expressions. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you over in lesson 1.5. And don't forget, happy learning!